Most people believe kidney damage only happens after a serious diagnosis like diabetes or long-term high blood pressure. That belief feels comforting, but it is incomplete. In reality, kidney stress often begins much earlier and much more quietly. It is not usually caused by one sudden illness. It builds slowly through everyday habits that seem normal, harmless, and even healthy on the surface. Your kidneys work non-stop. Every minute of every day, they filter blood, balance fluids, manage minerals, and remove waste created by normal metabolism. Because of this constant workload, they are extremely sensitive to dehydration, chemical exposure, and repeated dietary stress. Unlike other organs, the kidneys rarely send early pain signals. There is no sharp warning when strain begins. Damage can accumulate silently for years before any clear symptoms appear. This is why daily food choices matter more than people realize. Certain eating patterns can increase inflammation, encourage crystal formation, or overload the kidneys with waste products the body struggles to clear efficiently. These effects do not happen overnight. They develop gradually, which makes them easy to ignore or misinterpret as normal aging. The goal of this video is not to create fear. It is to bring awareness. Kidney health is shaped far more by consistent daily exposure than by rare medical events. What you eat regularly, how well you hydrate, and how your body handles metabolic byproducts all play a role over time. When people understand that kidney stress often comes from repetition rather than extremes, the picture becomes clearer. Awareness allows better decisions. Small changes made early can support kidney function long before problems appear. Once this quiet pattern of kidney stress is understood, the next question becomes where that stress is coming from. One of the most common sources is not a single nutrient, but imbalance created by modern processed foods. Many people focus on one ingredient at a time, such as salt, sugar, or fat. In reality, the kidneys respond to how nutrients work together, not in isolation. High-sodium foods are a clear example. Sodium itself is not automatically harmful. The problem appears when sodium is consumed without enough potassium to balance fluid movement and blood pressure. Processed foods often deliver large amounts of sodium while stripping away the potassium that naturally accompanies it in whole foods. This forces the kidneys to work harder to maintain balance, increasing internal strain over time. Another overlooked factor is phosphate additives. Phosphates occur naturally in food and play an important role in the body. However, the inorganic phosphates added to processed products are absorbed far more efficiently than those found in whole foods. This unnatural absorption rate allows phosphates to accumulate where they do not belong, including in kidney tissue and blood vessels. Over time, this contributes to hardening and scarring inside organs designed to remain flexible. The human body evolved to handle nutrients in natural ratios. Industrial food processing disrupts those ratios. Preservatives, artificial sweeteners, and stabilizing chemicals bypass normal regulatory controls, increasing the workload placed on kidney filtration systems. This does not usually cause immediate symptoms. Instead, it creates gradual wear that progresses quietly. Even people who feel healthy can experience this slow decline. The damage is cumulative, not dramatic. Understanding this imbalance is a critical step toward protecting kidney function long-term. After understanding how imbalance from processed foods places stress on the kidneys, the discussion naturally leads to the single dietary factor that creates the greatest long-term burden. Sugar, especially fructose, stands out not because it is sweet, but because of how the body is forced to process it. Unlike glucose, which can be used by almost every cell in the body for energy, fructose follows a very different path. It is handled almost entirely by the liver. When fructose enters the system, the liver must process it rapidly, consuming large amounts of cellular energy in the form of ATP. This rapid energy depletion produces uric acid as a byproduct. Uric acid is not a harmless substance. It forms sharp crystals that are abrasive to tissues and place direct stress on the kidneys, which are responsible for clearing it from the blood. This mechanism explains why sugar affects kidney health in ways that go far beyond blood sugar or insulin response. Even people who do not consider themselves diabetic can experience increased kidney stress if fructose intake remains high over time. As uric acid levels rise, the kidneys are exposed to repeated friction and inflammation, increasing the risk of stone formation, scarring, and gradual loss of filtration efficiency. An important point made in the video is that fructose does not only come from obvious sources like soda or candy. Sweetened drinks, desserts, and many processed foods contain concentrated forms of sugar. Even sweeteners often labeled as natural, such as honey or agave, can deliver high amounts of fructose when used frequently or in large quantities. Risk is influenced by overall metabolic health and quantity consumed. Small amounts used occasionally are not the issue. Chronic exposure is. Over time, repeated fructose intake steadily increases the workload placed on the kidneys, accelerating stress that often goes unnoticed until damage has already progressed. Understanding this pathway brings clarity to why sugar plays such a central role in kidney health. With sugar and fructose explained as major contributors to kidney stress, the conversation naturally expands to another surprising area. Some foods widely considered healthy can still create problems when consumed in the wrong way or in excessive amounts. This does not mean these foods are bad. It means context matters more than labels. Green smoothies are a clear example discussed in the video. Many people turn to them as a symbol of clean eating, often blending large amounts of spinach, almonds, or beets into a single serving. These foods are rich in nutrients, but they are also high in oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds that can form crystals under certain conditions. When crystal formation increases, the kidneys are placed under additional strain as they work to filter and eliminate these particles. The video carefully explains that oxalates themselves are not universally harmful. Problems arise when the body lacks the ability to handle them efficiently. Several factors influence this ability. Adequate hydration helps dilute and flush compounds through the kidneys. Minerals such as calcium and magnesium can bind to oxalates in the digestive tract, reducing absorption. A diverse and healthy gut microbiome can break down oxalates before they reach the bloodstream. Even stomach acid levels play a role in mineral absorption and balance. When these support systems are weakened, oxalates are more likely to enter circulation and place pressure on the kidneys. This is why two people can respond very differently to the same food. One may tolerate it without issue, while another experiences discomfort or stone formation over time. This section reinforces a critical theme of the video. Kidney stress is rarely caused by one food alone. It develops from the interaction between food choices, digestion, hydration, mineral balance, and overall metabolic resilience. Understanding this interaction allows people to make informed adjustments rather than eliminating healthy foods out of fear. As the full picture comes together, it becomes clear that kidney stress rarely comes from food alone. It is shaped by a combination of diet, hydration, medications, and modern lifestyle exposures that accumulate quietly over time. This is why the video expands beyond nutrition to include commonly used substances that many people never associate with kidney health. Certain over-the-counter pain relievers, especially those used frequently, can reduce blood flow to the kidneys. The kidneys require a constant and generous supply of oxygen to perform their filtering work. When blood flow is reduced, they are forced to process the same volume of waste under more stressful conditions. Over time, this increases internal strain and can contribute to lasting loss of filtering capacity. Occasional use may be appropriate for some individuals, but repeated reliance adds to cumulative stress. Modern cooking oils are another overlooked factor. Many mass-produced vegetable oils are created through industrial processes involving high heat and chemical extraction. These methods can generate byproducts that place additional oxidative pressure on tissues, including the kidneys. When these oils are consumed regularly, they add to the metabolic workload the kidneys must manage. Alcohol is also addressed not as an absolute prohibition, but as a contributor to dehydration and increased uric acid production when used excessively. Dehydration alone makes it harder for the kidneys to flush waste efficiently. When combined with dietary and chemical stressors, its effects are amplified. The most important lesson is not fear, but awareness. Kidney health depends on reducing total stress rather than eliminating one single item. Small, consistent adjustments matter. Staying hydrated, spacing meals thoughtfully, using medications responsibly, and choosing foods with intention all work together to support long-term kidney function. Understanding how these factors interact allows people to protect their health with clarity and confidence rather than confusion or restriction.